Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of the Unstoppable Denominators Wrestling Results here on this channel. AEW Dynamite results for February 16th, 2022. This contains spoilers. Tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite was broadcast live from the Nashville Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, and Jim Ross were the broadcast team for tonight's event. CM Punk was out to announce the details of the rematch he earned against Maxwell Jacob Freeman. CM Punk was sitting cross-legged in the ring with a microphone. MJF tries to walk like me, talk like me. He could never think like me. But when he beat me in my hometown twice, you would think that I would be furious, that I would be mad. But the truth is, Max, I am proud of you. MJF fancies himself Piper in Portland, Brett in Calgary, Punk in Chicago, but he's just shitty like Max in shitty little Long Island. Shout out to Jon Moxley for the assist last week. I know get to pick the time, the place, the date, and the match for the rematch with Little Max. The time, probably right after sunset. The place, Orlando, March 16th. The pay-per-view is called Revolution, which leaves us with the rematch. And I started to think about some of my toughest matches. Maybe you can put me in a cage. Let's be honest. I've seen Wardlow. Maybe he can climb a cage, and so can Max, and he can run. Piper in Portland, I go back and think of those matches I've been in. I've been in a cage matches, and I've won more than I've lost. So I thought back to some of the toughest matches of my career, because that's where we learn how our toughest lessons. And I want to learn a lesson. Max, you want to be the tethered to Piper in Portland? You'll be tethered to me. We're 2 days removed from the Hallmark holiday. So, I get to ask Max, will you be my Valentine? CM Punk opened a heart-shaped box, and inside was a steel chain and a dog collar. After Punk after being called out, MJF walked onto the ramp. Punk says, "I want you to take it all in, Max. I want to leave you with this." To picture a photo of a young MJF meeting CM Punk for an autograph. To you, it was the greatest day of your life. To me, it was a Friday. And on Sunday, March 6th, at the Revolution pay-per-view, it'll be the worst day of your life. To me, it'll be just like Sunday. The canvas I sit on won't be stained with your shitty spray tan. It'll be stained with your blood. MJF seems unversed and he walking out, said Excalibur. American Dragon, Bryan Danielson versus Lee Moriarty with Matt Sydal. Bryan offered to shake hands with Lee before the match. Lee tried to shake Bryan's hand, but Bryan pulled back before Lee could accept. Lee and Bryan chain wrestled until Bryan slapped Lee across the face. Lee swept out the leg on Bryan, but then Bryan gained control with the Rimowa special. He's got Moriarty in all tied up. A dragon sleeper with 2 knees captured, said Excalibur. Lee escaped and was looking for the border city stretch, but Danielson grabbed the ropes. Lee kicked Danielson, targeting Daniel's face. Lee connected with European uppercut, knocking Danielson outside the ring. Danielson had Lee tied up in the ropes and began blasting him with kicks and then a nasty knee strike. Danielson tried to pin Moriarty, but Moriarty bridged up. Danielson dropped some elbows, but the Moriarty turned the tables and hit the ground and pound on Danielson. American Dragon went for the bell lock, but Lee grabbed on the ropes to force the break to the ref to break the submission. Moriarty back suplexed Bryan, bouncing him on his head. The crowd here in Nashville getting behind Lee, said Excalibur. Danielson wanted violence, and I'd say Moriarty is doing everything he can do to abide by those wishes, added Jim Ross. Moriarty battered Danielson with boxing elbows, but Bryan fired back with a rolling elbow. Lee body locked Danielson and then suplexed him for a near fall. Moriarty tried to lock in the border city stretch, but Danielson countered with a shoulder capture suplex. Danielson charged at Lee with the running knee strike. It's like Bryan is in a trance, said Jim Ross. Danielson grabbed Lee's arm and began stomping on Lee's head. Danielson applied the triangle sleeper on. The ref stopped the match as Lee was unable to continue. Lee's Moriarty put to sleep, and Bryan Danielson put another notch in his win column, said Excalibur. Danielson called for a microphone after the match. Bryan says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I came out here to teach Lee Moriarty a thing or two about violence. And I want to know, did he pass or did he fail? And that's why I don't trust the American public with anything. That said, that's not the reason I grabbed the microphone. I asked Jon Moxley to team up with me to create a whole new AEW to teach young wrestlers about violence. And Jon Moxley, I want an answer." Jon Moxley's music began to play, and the purveyor of violence came out to the ring. "Imagine a world where these two team up," said Excalibur. Moxley says, "Little over a decade ago, I was a lot like that Lee Moriarty kid. I was young, I was angry, I was poor. I had nothing to lose. I took a shot at taking down the great American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. We were a little indie show. I stood eye to eye with the man they called the best wrestler in the world. I fought tooth and nail, but I came up short. But getting a taste just made me want it more. Over the years, I had more shots at Bryan Danielson, and I came up short. In fact, I have never beaten Bryan Danielson. So when you showed up in AEW, everyone else was scared, and I was excited because I would get a chance to slay the dragon. but Bryan Danielson wants to join forces with me. I'm not going to lie. I got to thinking, how awesome it could be. We could create a dream team of unmuted, pure wrestling violence. And the young guys we could take with us, giving back to AEW and the legacy we could leave. I couldn't think of one good reason to say no. But then I got to wondering, is the only reason Bryan Danielson wanting to stand side by side with me because he doesn't want to stand across from me in a ring? And if that's the case, well, then I've already beaten Bryan Danielson. So which is it? I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. I'll leave it up to you, Bryan. I don't stand side by side with nobody till I bleed with them first. Face of the Revolution qualifying match. So here we go. Wardlow with Shawn Spears versus Acclaim's Platinum Max Caster with Anthony Bowens. Caster went behind with a sledgehammer shot to Wardlow's spine. Wardlow grabbed Caster with a belly-to-belly suplex. Wardlow followed Caster outside the ring and turned him inside out with a lariat. Wardlow tried to powerbomb Caster, but Caster grabbed the steel chair from Bowens. As the ref was distracted, Caster clocked Wardlow and then hit the mic drop in from the top rope. Wardlow fired up and powerbombed Caster, and then again, and another powerbomb. The powerbomb symphony, said Excalibur. Wardlow stood on Caster and pinned him. Wardlow advances to Revolution. Bowens attacked Wardlow from behind, but Wardlow turned around and powerbombed him. Shawn Spears finally entered the ring and whacked the Acclaimed with his steel chair. Tony Schiavone was in the ring to interview the AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page. Page, I am surprised. Adam Cole interrupted the interview. Cole says, you've been in some battles. The war you had with Kenny Omega to win that championship and the Texas death match you had last week was one of the craziest I've ever seen. And you retained that title. You have earned the right to call yourself the AEW World Champion. Right now, you are the champion. But it's a shame that reign will come to an end soon. Page says, I wonder what it was like for your friends to leave you behind and build an empire without you. And now you're standing in the ring with your Bullet Club buddy who is holding a championship you'll never have. Adam Cole says, you haven't mentioned the Bucks in months or the Dark Order. So, what kind of friend are you? Page says, I'm not perfect, but you're not perfect with friendships either. The more you talk, the more I think getting into the ring tonight is one of your biggest mistakes. Cole says, you've always been known as the other Adam. Look me in the eyes. I have nothing but love, respect, and admiration for you. If I could share this ring with anybody here in AEW, so trust me when I tell you we're going to fight for the AEW World Championship, and when that day does come, filled with respect, may the best man win. Cole shook Page's hand and then left the ring with a smug grin on his face. Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish assaulted Adam Page from behind. Adam Cole jumped back into the ring and began to hammer down on Page with punches. Security ran out and tried to pull them off Adam Page. The Dark Order ran to the ring and Cole, O'Reilly, and Fish retreated. 10 of the Dark Order went berserk and emptied the ring of the security guards. Demo God, Chris Jericho, Jake Hager versus Santana and Ortiz. Mad King Eddie Kingston made his return to a huge reception. He stood in the corner of Santana and Ortiz. Santana and Jericho slugged it out at the start of the match. Jericho fired back with forearms, but then Santana splashed Jericho in the corner. Ortiz tagged in and planted Jericho with a DDT. This thing may be over quicker than we think, said Jim Ross. Ortiz got a near fall on Jericho with a fisherman suplex. Jericho popped Ortiz up and then pancaked him. Jericho tagged out to Hager and then rammed into Ortiz with a double shoulder block. Ortiz ate a belly-to-belly from Hager. Jake followed up with a Hager bomb for a near fall. Santana tagged in and dominated Hager with chest to the chop. Okay, that makes sense there. He kicked Hager's knee and then drop kicked him. Jericho came in with a code breaker on Santana. Jericho got clubbed by Santana. Jericho went for the lion salt, but Ortiz stopped him, and then Santana grabbed Jericho for a Russian leg sweep off the ropes. They hit the street sweeper on Jericho, but Jericho kicked out in time. This is awesome, chanted by the fans. Ortiz attempted a cannonball off Santana's back, but Jericho countered by catching him and putting him in the lion tamer. Santana crawled and made it to the ropes. Kingston hopped up on the apron and Jericho dropped him. Santana nailed Jericho with a discus lariat and pinned Jericho. Jericho jumped out of the ring and went after Kingston. The refs had to pull apart Jericho and Kingston. No DQ match. Mercedes versus Thunder Rosa. Martinez came out with her leg pipe. Thunder Rosa had a steel chair and swung it at Martinez, knocking the pipe out of her hand. Thunder Rosa pulled a table out from beneath the ring. Martinez grabbed Rosa and rammed her into the steel ring steps. Rosa reversed an Irish whip and sent Martinez crashing into the guardrail. Thunder Rosa jumped off the risers with a crossbody press onto Martinez. A table was propped on the ring apron. Thunder Rosa was looking for a Death Valley driver, but Martinez countered with a fisherman's buster on the table. Martinez began to whack Thunder Rosa with a steel chair in Rosa's lower back. She propped Thunder Rosa on the top turnbuckle. Thunder Rosa countered with a hurricanrana off the top rope. She placed the trash can over Mercedes' head and then smashed her with a running drop kick for a near fall. Thunder Rosa climbed to the top rope, but Martinez hit Rosa with the trash can lid. She followed up with a spider German suplex on Thunder Rosa. Martinez dropped an elbow from the top rope for a near fall. How the hell did Thunder Rosa get out of those two things? Asked Schiavone. Grit and determination, said Jim Ross. Martinez piled chairs in the center of the ring. Martinez attempted a powerbomb, but Thunder Rosa countered with a crucifix bomb. Thunder Rosa hit the Thunder Fire Driver on Martinez on the chairs and pinned her. You can see the physical toll this battle took on both men, said Excalibur. After the match, Thunder Rosa bowed to Martinez, showing her a sign of respect. AEW Women's World Champion Dr. Britt Baker, Rebel Jamie Hayter walked to the ring. I told you she was weak. Now finish her, said Martin Cove, aka John Kreese, to Britt Baker from ringside. If you don't know who that is from Karate Kid. Baker handed Martinez the lead pipe. Martinez heisted, and then Jamie Hayter blindsided Martinez. Baker pummeled Thunder Rosa while Hayter launched an attack on Martinez. TNT title match. Champ Spanish God Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin with Sting. They shook hands with one another before the match. There were dueling chants throughout the arena. Darby transitioned into a snap mirror and then put a headlock on Sammy. Darby used a shotgun dropkick to surprise Sammy. Sammy was looking for a Spanish fly from the top rope. Instead, Sammy hoisted up Darby and dropped him onto the turnbuckles. Sammy placed Darby on the top rope and then nailed him with a senton. Darby Allin turned the tables with 2 consecutive coffin splashes on Sammy. Darby concentrated his attack on the tweaked knee of Sammy. Darby tied up Sammy's legs in the ropes and applied with a single leg crab. Sammy Guevara came back with a Spanish fly off the top rope. Sammy may have crashed almost as hard as Darby did, said Excalibur. He couldn't get the full rotation because of his injured knee, noted Jim Ross. Sammy jumped off the ropes, but Darby countered, grabbing Sammy and putting him into a figure 4. Sammy flipped off Darby, and then they traded palm strikes. Darby released the hold. Sammy Guevara charged in with a knee strike, but Darby countered. Sammy attempted the GTH, but Darby countered with the Last Supper. Sammy escaped. Darby countered with a stunner. Darby jumped through the ropes, but Sammy countered with a cutter on the floor. I think Darby's face hit flush, said Tony Schiavone. Sammy climbed to the top turnbuckle and jumped for a senton, but Darby dodged it. Sammy crashed onto the apron. I think Darby Allin has a new lease on life in this match, said Jim Ross. Darby climbed to the top, about to go for the coffin drop, but Jose, the assistant, jumped onto the ring apron. Sting pulled Jose from the ring. The ref's attention was occupied by the Sting and Jose. Andrade El Idolo cracked Darby with an iPad. Sammy blasted Darby with the GTH and pinned Darby. Hell of a match. Thanks for dropping by and spoiling things, Andrade El Idolo, said Jim Ross. Matt Hardy sprinted down to the ring and began to ground and pound Darby. Sammy jumped into the ring to help Darby, but Andrade El Idolo blindsided Sammy with an iPad. Andrade El Idolo posed with Sammy of Sammy's championship belts until Sting got in the ring and Andrade backed down. Catch AEW Dynamite on TBS next Wednesday, live at 8/7 Central from the Webster Bank Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Don't miss AEW Rampage this Friday at a special time at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. And remember, the home of professional wrestling is All Elite Wrestling. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you guys do not miss an upload here on this channel. And I'm out.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Skiz here. And if you don't subscribe to Juan and the Unstoppable Denominator, then you are a toothy bumfuck, pussy ass bitch motherfucker.